seeing as it's video, I will leave the floor to Ali. Ali, why did I say Ali? I meant Elia. Ali's face.
Ali, you look so scared.
She was like, what the fuck?
Justy, I will leave this to Elia. Yeah, take it from here.
Hi. So today we're going to be talking about things that we've learned from our past relationships. Yeah.
Tuesday.
So there can be personal, you can speak about your personal experiences, things other people have said, just anything that could help anybody watching.
Can it be talking stages? I ain't never been in a relationship.
That works.
Word.
Not missing out.
Facts.
Jeez.
Who wants to
Well, we
say
know
us
the
off?
turn of this one.
No.
Who wants to
It's
say us
fine.
off?
Anyway, don't worry.
Earlier, you said that everyone's been through a bad talking stage. Yeah? I don't believe I have actually.
Oh, you're so lucky. You're a blessed.
I don't
human.
think I have either. Like,
A bad talking stage.
I mean, disclaimer, I'm cursed. I just feel like I should just like put that out there. I'm probably cursed. So it could just be me. It could just be me.
No, I think my
what's
worst
a bad
talking stage. When
It's a
you have
bad
to
talking
carry
stage,
the
isn't it?
conversation. That's
Oh.
a bad talking stage. When
Why
I'm
did you
sitting
even
there,
get to that point then?
because you know when you're just like you're chatting to someone and you're just like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and you are just dragging this
Just out
conversation.
Like, if it's dead conversation, we're not getting to talking stage. I can't lie.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like talking stages can be fine up until a point, and then there's like a make or break point where it's either it deads out.
I think the make or break point is when you go, okay, are we going to meet or not? Because that's it. After you ask them, are you going to meet? It's kind of like you have to put everything to chance.
Do you know what is a big L actually? Is when you're doing talking stage fine and they're really loving you, meet them and they've got the fucking personality of a radiator.
See,
That's the worst one.
I've never had
meet
that.
them. You meet them and you're sitting across from them and they are not saying it. You're
But
like
some
sitting
people,
there
some
having
people are
banter.
better over the phone than in person. It's quite sad.
Yeah, but how sad is that in real life?
We're not really going to be out
excuse
here having like a phone call relationship.
Exactly. I'm not out here
As if you're
texting
only
for the
lit
rest of
over
my
the
life.
phone.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Okay, let me ask you like this: if someone was in that situation, what would your advice be?
Leave.
Yeah,
There's nothing else. Like,
in fact, at one time, this
Exit.
will make me sound like such
Go.
an asshole. So cut this shit out. But I have to tell the story. So I was talking to this guy for like like it was like a couple of weeks with the back talking station, and I was like, cool. Like she's like, let's meet. It's fine. So I go at dinner, and for like a good hour, like shit conversation. So I literally just looked at her and went, look, the conversation is crap, right? You are not vibing with me, right? Should we just cut this short now and I can go home?
No, okay. I have a worse one. Ali knows this. She was featured in the story. My first date was tragic. It was absolutely awful. So he was nice in the beginning. He took me to GBK. It was fine. And then as the night kind of progressed, and we ended up like chilling at mine. And then in my head, I decided to mention the fact that I used to talk to someone that lives in the same area as him. In my head, I was thinking, it's a small world, nothing bad is going to happen. But like I said, I'm very cursed. Turns out they were friends. And in my head, I kind of just went, okay, panic. So I FaceTimed Ali. He's literally right behind me. And I'm just completely ignoring that he's here.
He was topless. He was topless.
Yeah, and that's the first thing she asked me. She was like, why is he not wearing a shirt? And I was like, that's kind of not the point here.
This naked man in your bed.
And I told her, and she was just like, how does this happen? Long story short, he hates me now. And I was like, oh well.
but it's not like you did something. It's not like you were speaking to him knowing that he was friends with that guy, though.
Word. But in his head, he was just like, but you played me. And I was like, how, bruv? I only found this out after the fact.
Guys, man.
And I think the worst thing about it is he was just like I wasted time. I was like, nobody told you to show up for one. He was like, I wasted money on you. And then I was like, also, nobody asked you to pay for my meal either. Don't
Nah.
sit here and tell me that you wasted anything because no one had, you fast yourself up to come here.
No. To be fair, I'm
I
not
can't
15 anymore, so
defend
I'm not taking anyone to Nando's on the first date.
Now
So I ain't got to worry
tell
about
them
that.
why. Tell them why.
Oh no!
let's
Why is
go.
that?
This is a funny story.
Promise knows. So basically,
I know.
I was a lot younger and I'd broken up with this. I'd gone out with this guy for a couple months, and I was like, "Do you know what? It's not a thing. I'm just gonna break up with her." So we went out on a date, and I was like, we were sitting in Nando's and getting food, and I was like, "Okay, I don't think it's working out." So she was like, "Cool." She was really amicable about it, like whatever. And then she got up and walked. Like she's like, "Okay, do you mind if I go?" I was like, "Yeah, cool, go. Like it's cool. Like I'm sorry, blah blah blah." So she walks off. And like a good 2 minutes later, she comes back with one of them Nando steak knives. She's like, "We'll kill you." And I'm like, can you not, please?
Is this real?
There's me bobbing and weaving in Nando. It's like, excuse me.
What the hell?
What a shocking turn of events, I must say.
I don't feel like
What
anyone
did you
should
do?
ever get you to that point where you feel like once they've broken up with you, you have to physically assault them.
But I didn't. It wasn't even like a long thing. It was like, I was like, why are you trying to act me like this? Why are you trying to kill me?
What learn? What have you not learned? What advice could you give, like, let's say, a younger you?
I think for me, if they say that they're never going to do it again, they're lying because they always will. Yeah, I just feel like you can only trust someone up to a point. Like if you have that feeling where it's going wrong and you know like in your gut there's a thing that's like this isn't okay, listen to your gut. No matter what your heart tells you to do or anything like that, just go with how you feel because you could either be really wrong
Evidence to support that.
or you could be 100% right. If you're really wrong, you just
Like,
have to
this
take an
person
L.
turns
But
around like, "Bro, you don't trust me that much."
I feel like trust isn't something you can just hand out for free. Like someone like a person has to earn your trust. So you just have to not test them, but you kind of have to see how they are and kind of don't just go, oh, because I care about them and they say that they care about me, kind of just base it off that and just go, oh, everything's going to be okay.
But in a new relationship, do you trust instantly? Do you naturally trust?
I mean, it depends on, because I would like to know a person. So during that stage of like knowing them and getting to know them, it will grow and you'll kind of see how it works.
Yeah.
And then if you feel like it's not going to work, then you can go, and you feel like it is, then you can stay.
Exactly. Well, I presume that when, like, after talking, right, and then like whoever pops the question, as in like, oh, you know, become official or whatever. I presume you have trust in that person by that stage because, like, as they say, trust, you know, takes a lifetime to make, but like seconds to break.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you get to a point in like a relationship, there has to be like a significant amount of trust there.
Yeah.
I feel like before you get into the relationship, there has to be a significant amount of trust.
Yeah, but it's not like the level of
If
trust.
I can't trust you.
But it's also not the level of trust you get when you're like in a relationship. When you're in a relationship, it's like there's like a basic level of trust of like you're not gonna fuck me over essentially. But not even that's always the case. And then you've got like then like as the relationship goes on, that sort of gets like that trust builds because you build like it's like that person
Or
becomes almost
breaks
like
down.
yeah,
It can go
breaks
that
down.
way.
Yeah,
So, no.
we're trying to be optimistic here.
Words. Let's
Lord.
hope not.
Now, if I could tell my younger self one thing, is like don't put your life on hold for someone else. That is not a
Mine
thing.
would have been, don't chase after that one boy, and you should have left a little bit sooner than you did.
I think for me, it's you can't help somebody if they don't want to help themselves.
Preach.
Wow, that one hit hard.
Yeah.
Hit hard.
like context to that. My ex-boyfriend, he had like depression, anxiety. Kind of when we first started to get together, and he just only started going to like the doctors about it, blah blah. And anyway, he got all these pills or whatever, and then he'd take them for a week and then stop. And they take a week to get into your system, these particular pills.
Right.
And he was constantly down. He threatened to kill himself twice. And as much as like as his girlfriend, as much as you want to help because you care about that person, he didn't really want help. He was a little bit of an attention seeker, really, even though he clearly did have like mental health issues. But at the end of the day, there's people who don't realize they have mental health issues, sorry, and don't get the help, and it's like, you're lucky that you've got stuff to help you out and you won't take it. And it's just like, how am I meant to help you if you won't even do it for yourself first, and then and then moan about it, basically, like moan about how your life's so shit and how you always feel shitty. And it's like, well, you haven't even given the doctor's advice a chance to begin with.
Oh, I can relate. I mean, I've been in one of those, and it's just like, how long are you gonna keep pulling this card? Like, because if I want to say, you can't put anything over my head to force me to stay. And I feel like if it gets to a point in a relationship where you have to put something over somebody's head, the person's just gonna have to make the executive decision to just go, because you can't help someone that can't help themselves. And especially like with the people that I've been with, you can't teach a boy how to be a man. If he's going to want to be that, he's going to do that on his own. You can't carry him through this. You can't like give him all of these things to want to help him and then suffer in the process, because it's long and that takes a lot out of a person to kind of sit there and have to like carry someone through an entire relationship, especially one relationship where it's just like, that they're going through things and it's things that you can't help them with. Like, I would tell them all the time, look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I can't help you. Like, I can sit here and like talk to you about it, but what I'm not going to do is, when you're having a down day, is sit here and let you kind of take shit out of me, because I can't. Like, what do you want me to do? You can only take so much as a person. It's really,
if you're not happy, just dip. That's the rule.
Exactly. If you're not happy, just leave. This is why I never get people who cheat. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that one, it confuses me for one simple reason. If you're at that point where you can cheat on someone, you're clearly not happy. So why not just end it and then start something else with this person? Why you gotta go around this whole backwards bullshit?
Just leave me alone.
Actually, do you know what? There's only one person who's more trash than that. And that's the person who's in a relationship, then talking to another girl and getting with another girl, and they're like, "No, I'll leave my person." Or like, that's the worst kind of person. Those are actually the worst.
Wait, say that again.
So imagine this, like, okay, there's a girl and a guy going out, right? And the guy decides he wants to start a relationship with another girl and promises that other girl that he's going to leave his current relationship. I had to do the whole thing. And then
I've seen too many examples of that in movies, especially like when they're married.
Yeah.
What?
For you,
It makes
okay.
No, sorry.
It makes no sense at all.
I think the thing for me with marriage, if it comes to the point where you have to cheat on me, I'm not forking out all this money for a divorce. This is just me. I'm just like, well, I said to you, till death do us part. So
who's dying?
No.
Somebody in this room has to die, and
No.
it's probably not going to be me.
No. Quickly, I want to touch on what you lot were saying earlier about that whole mental health situation. Yeah. As a younger person, can you understand why you don't ever want to leave, because you don't want to put that person in a worse off position? Does that make sense? So yeah, you can't help them, but by you leaving, is it not making it worse? So
yeah, but that's like,
that younger person might feel, okay, I'm kind of trapped here. I can't leave. I can't help. What's your advice in that situation?
I mean, I'm very cynical.
be you. Because at the end of the day, you've got one kind of like thing that you have to do in this life, and that is to do right by yourself. You know, people are going to come and go, relationships are going to come and go. The only thing that is going to stay with you is yourself. You have to be in tune with who you are as a person. And if you know that you can't help someone, and if you know that it's hurting you and them, you just have to go, and they are going to figure it out. If they want to be with you, they're going to figure it out.
For me, it was kind of
And
the
to be
opposite,
honest,
because it was more of he was trying to push me away when I was trying to be there for him, sort of thing. So it was just different in that aspect.
Yeah.
if in any situation, if someone is putting you in a position where you just, like, if they're not allowing you to help, let's say, and they're putting you in a position which is hindering your life, it's just not worth it.
It's
That's the
not.
problem. Like, for example, like now, if I'm dating someone and they're not like, they're stopping me from doing, like, succeeding at university, or, you know, doing my job, or, you know, having a social life, anything like that, all of those things, if they're like actively saying or actively stopping me from enjoying the things that I enjoy, basically, if they're not adding value to my life, then they don't really need to be there, to be honest. It's kind of brutal, but, you know.
No, but
Yeah,
that makes sense. If they're
it's
affecting things that they shouldn't have an effect on, if they're trying to control things that they shouldn't be able to control, it's time to go. Because, like, you're not my parents, you didn't carry me for 9 months or donate to my existence. Who are you to tell me how I'm supposed to live my life?
your partner.
Like, you can't sit here and try to tell me, oh, you should do this. Actually, you want me to do this. I don't have to do a damn thing you tell me to do. If it's not right by me, I'm not going to do it.
So to say something like, oh, if it's not right by you, did I get it? But it's a lot easier said than done, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know we've been in situations where, yeah, this wasn't right for us, but you know what, I love this person, I'll stay. Or they said, don't do this, or, you know what, because I love this person, I'll stay. You get it? That we've all been in situations like that. So just trying to avoid that for whoever else is watching. You can't just say, if it's not right for you, dip. Because let's be honest, had you watched a YouTube video during that time and someone said, if it's not right for you, dip, would you have dip?
Yeah.
You have to leave when
With the
you're
knowledge
ready.
I have now, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
No, but I'm not with the knowledge you have now. If you were in that situation and you had watched a YouTube video and that person said it was not right for you, dip, would you have dip?
But when I was a lot younger, I was less cynical.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
didn't have
I was less I owe myself more than I need to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're younger, you're like, I owe everything to this person, or like, you want to be with this person, make them happy, whatever. And you kind of push your own agenda aside.
For the sake of that person.
Whereas now I'm a lot older, and now I'm like here thinking, I've got things that I want to achieve. And if you're not helping me achieve them, and you're actually actively doing opposite from that, then you just don't belong in my life. Because this is like, this decade is going to be the important one, and there's a shitload that I need to do, that I haven't really got an option of like saying, oh no, let's just, you know, I'm going to put all my focus into you and hope you're going to be the outcome of like life. It just makes no sense to me.
And we have to remember as well, at a certain point, we reach a certain point where it's like, you've done all that you could. Like, what else is there to do? So once you reach that point, you can't now be angry at yourself for leaving that situation because you tried as much as you could. So
yeah,
I feel like if someone was to watch this, you'll know at what point where you're just over it. Because everyone's has that point where they're just like, yeah, nah.
Because before you know it, you'll now get into that same state that he's in, and it's just,
exactly. Plus, that's how you build a toxic relationship.
Exactly.
Is if one of you does not want to be there, and the other one is already making it hard on your life, you're just wasting your time at that point.
Well, going back to what Promise said about if you saw something on YouTube and somebody told you to dip, I think in every relationship it's different, you know, because even though I mean, in every relationship, everyone makes mistakes and everybody says things that they don't mean or do certain little actions or whatever that without realizing affects the relationship. However, obviously, when you go to your friends to complain, like you're giving out the worst situation. However, you don't go really to your friends to say about, oh, how Monday night was so amazing, we did this, this, and this. Like, you know, obviously, I think it just depends, because obviously there will be a part of you that might go, okay, I must list the pros and cons right now. I need to delve into my actual feelings about how do I really feel about this person, and can we sort it? Because at this age now, for me, I'd rather sort out my problems than walk away, because I don't want to quit on somebody that I once did love. And if I did actually really love them, then, you know, and if I do see this going somewhere, because at this age, I'm not dating somebody to dump them. I'm dating for the long run, really, because otherwise I'm just setting myself up for heartbreak. But I mean, you've got to work through your problems. That's how I feel at this age. Obviously, when you're younger and it's all like, oh yeah, kissy, kissy, whatever, and young and innocent, then, you know, okay, is what it is. And obviously things hurt more. But
yeah, I think once you get to 18, this is kind of where the long term starts. You have to, you know, look.
You've got to man up and just get on with it and work through your problems. Like, okay, it might be worse for a bit longer because you've actually got to touch on these really raw subjects or whatever about what each other have done. But, you know, in the long run, being honest is better.
Yeah.
And sorting everything out is better.
Yeah, but then I think there's always a situation of like, there's always a point where you just got to decide whether you need to cut and run or not. And I think a lot of people get into that position where they're like, let's work through it, and then it just becomes like normal to consistently just work through constant amounts of problems. And I think there's just, for me, there's always going to be that point where I'm just like, no, this is not a thing. This cannot happen.
Yeah, if there's so many problems like that you've got to work through, then realistically you've got to be like, why are there so many problems? You know, and then obviously then that does lead you back to, well, pros and cons, maybe.
But see, I've always been a firm believer that my relationship life is personal, like that's private. For me, especially, like I'm not coming out here like dumping problems in my like in a whatever relationship I'm in on anyone else. Like that's like private. I won't talk about who I'm talking to, how far in the talking stage I am, who they are, things like that. And especially because I mean I've got a couple of friends who will just, as soon as I give them a name, that's it. They're up all on Instagram. They're finding this person.
That is
right.
Weird.
It's me.
They're going through. And I'm like, I don't need
little stalker.
Yeah, I'm like that's it goes like, for me it's like my circles is family, friends, and relationship, and they all kind of say separated for the most part. That's like, I don't know.
I don't keep things. This is one thing I should learn to do, is kind of keep things to myself, because I don't do that. I tell everybody everything, and then when it goes to shit, I tell them that it's gone to shit. And yeah, I will. Right, it's not that I stalk them. It's just there are certain situations in relationships that you get into that there are just a lot of background information that you're going to need to know. For example, if they have kids. Now, I've been there.
And this is how you guys met.
Don't do it. Like, I'm, as much as like you can like this person or whatever the hell it is, there's just going to be a point where that other person is just going to crop up. Unfortunately for me, she cropped up a little too early, and that's a whole different kettle of fish.
That was really
I took a whole L. I can say that with my chest. I took a whole L. But like, there's certain things that you're gonna need to know. Like, if they have kids, like you're gonna need to know like what the relationship with like the other person is like. Because if not, and you get into the situation that I was in, it's just going to be like, you're just going to go, well, I have no disregard for this person's life, and you're just going to want to, like, you know, fight.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, that situation when it happened to me made me realize I can give no fucks about a person. Because I was just ready to go. I was just like, okay, and
Also, I think just some people need to learn to be able to be on their own for a bit. Like a lot of people just sort of like
Yeah.
hop from one relationship to another, and they never like they disregard themselves as people
That
first.
was me still. I can't cut. That was me.
Trust, man. I think every guy goes through it. I think every guy goes through it. I have to admit. Also, no one ever start. This is one thing I've learned is you never start as a perfect relationship. It's always got to be. You always end up there. That's the problem. Like everyone always gets into a relationship going, they have to have this, and this, right? And they have to be like this, otherwise it's not a thing. And then it like fizzles out in a month. But if you're like, okay, I eventually want to get to a point where we are like this or like that, and you can see it with someone, then that will last a lot longer.
that's true. Because I feel like everyone has like their image in this head of their perfect relationship, and honestly, every person's perfect relationship is different. There's not like a universal definition of a perfect relationship. The way that I see it, if it works for you, it works, and no one can come and tell you how to like run your relationship and tell you how to do it. As long as it works for you and you guys are cool, then stay that way. This is why I feel like when I get to a point where I'm in a serious relationship, that's when it's just like, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it with anyone, because you can't, like, I do this, and like I sometimes love it and sometimes hate it, but I hate sometimes when like someone can tell you something about your relationship and then it's like planted a seed in your head and you're just like, well, here we are. Like, what do you do about that? So I feel like once you get to a point where your relationship is secure, then it kind of like nobody else's opinion matters, because as long as it works for you, it's just going to work for you.
So basically, lesson to be learned is, one, don't compromise your own fucking happiness and success for someone else, and two, people suck.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, none of us have actually said a nice piece of advice for the last like.
Be patient with your partner, but when it gets to a point where you can't take it anymore, put yourself first.
Also, it's not selfish to be selfish.
I like that one.
Yeah. Okay, goodbye.
All I do is grind and I just wanna make it. People say I got time, but I ain't gonna waste it. Time is a virtue, and so is patience.